Hey everyone, welcome back to Crafty Corner's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some stocking tags using leather, iron-on, and the Cricut Explore Air 2. First, we're going to apply the iron-on or heat transfer vinyl to a standard grip cutting mat. When you're applying iron-on or heat transfer vinyl, you always want to make sure you put it face down onto the mat and mirror your image in design space. So there's going to be a shiny side, which is this side. And then there's also going to be a dull side. It looks more like a matte finish. And you want to make sure you put it the shiny side down. So I'm just going to use my extra large scraper tool to apply this to the mat. The next step is going to be to load your mat into your Cricut and then choose your material. If you have a Cricut Explore Air 2 or an Explore, you'll have a smart dial on the right side of your machine. So you can just turn the dial over to iron-on and you'll be good. When you're loading your mat into the machine, I always make sure both sides are pressed evenly against these rollers. You want to make sure that everything is even and you're applying a little bit of pressure. And then while my one hand is applying just a little bit of pressure, I'm going to hit the arrow that's flashing and then it will load it in. And now that the C is flashing, that means it's ready to cut. Now I'm going to remove the iron-on from the mat, and to do this I'm actually going to flip the mat over and bend the mat back while I keep the iron-on straight. The next step is going to be to weed the iron-on. To weed this, we're going to weed away the excess iron-on. So we're going to weed from the back. You'll see your design on it again. You can't really tell on mine, maybe a little bit. But we're going to weed from this side, not from the shiny side. I like to use my weeder tool and start in the top right corner and kind of just dig in a little bit and then pull away. So there you can see the carrier sheet is that transparent sheet, and this is the iron-on. So just make sure you're weeding the iron-on and you're not trying to pull away the carrier sheet. So I love weeding iron-on vinyl. I think it is the easiest thing to weed. So I'm just literally pulling away. And then I'm gonna get the inside of the letters out using the weeder tool. And that's it. So that's what it looks like from the back, which is where we weeded from. But then if you flip it over, you'll see that it's correct. Next, I'm going to apply the leather to a strong grip cutting mat. I like to use a brayer tool when applying leather. Also, if your strong grip mat is a little dirty or maybe it's a little bit older, you can apply masking tape on the edges to help secure it down, because the last thing you want while this is cutting is for the leather to move on the mat. To cut the leather, I'm going to be using a special blade. It's called the deep point blade, and this blade just allows you to cut through thicker material on your Air 2. You can use this blade as well in the Cricut Maker, so inserting it is super simple. Here's my fine point blade, just pop it in and we're good to go. With your Explore Air 2, you'll have to remember to set your smart dial to custom and then search for metallic leather or whatever kind of leather you're using in design space. The deep point blade will cut the leather in multiple passes, so if you notice it going around 2 or 3 times, that's totally normal. So here's what it looks like. I just pulled it off of the mat. As you can tell, it had a little bit of a hard time cutting out the little circle. What I'm going to use is an X-Acto knife, and this is the True Control knife from Cricut. I absolutely love it, highly recommend it. I'm going to use this to kind of help get this little circle out. As you can see, it did cut it. It just needs a little help. And when you're working with leather, I do recommend trying to keep your cuts larger and simpler. Since it's deep materials that are cutting, you don't want to do anything too intricate. Of course, when you're using a knife like this, you want to make sure you cut away from yourself. And I'm literally just tracing the circle that it made. And there you go. So our next step is going to be to apply the iron-on or heat transfer vinyl to the leather tag that we cut out. To do this, you're going to need an EasyPress, or you're going to need a heat press, or a household iron would also work. For this project, the EasyPress Mini is actually perfect for this. And for the heat settings, I went to Cricut's heat guide, which is on the internet. I'll link that below for you guys. I highly recommend always using that when you're doing heat transfer projects because they give you the exact time and temperature that you need to get successful transfers. We're going to put the EasyPress on low, so I'm just going to turn it on. And then this is the low setting. So now that the EasyPress has officially heated up, and you can tell because it's all green, we're gonna start the heat transfer process. So the instructions say to have it on low pressure and to apply it with constant movement for 30 seconds. It also recommends preheating the leather for just about 5 seconds. So we're gonna start by doing that. And I'm just gonna hold the leather down here with my finger and just kind of move back and forth like this. Then we're gonna take our iron-on and apply it. You can use a tape measure if you wanna make it perfectly straight, but I'm just gonna wing it here. And then I'm just gonna push down. So then I'm gonna take the EasyPress and apply light pressure with constant movement for 30 seconds. And again, all of these directions and instructions are found on Cricut's heat guide. That's exactly where I'm pulling it from, so I'm not making any of this up. I always recommend double checking it. All right, so I've set my timer and we're going to apply this. So remember, it said to apply light pressure with constant movement. So I'm really just going back and forth, making sure that I cover all of the iron-on. And my watch is telling me we're done. So now I'm gonna flip it over and just preheat the back for 5 to 10 seconds. Again, just using light pressure with constant movement. All right, so now I'm gonna let that cool before I remove the carrier sheet. I'll show you what that looks like next. So this is what it looks like before. And then we're just gonna slowly peel away. There you go. As you're removing, if you find that some of the pieces of the iron-on are still sticking to the carrier sheet and haven't transferred to the leather, you'll want to just go over again in that area with your EasyPress for another like 15 or 20 seconds and then let it cool again. You'll want to make sure that it removes as easily as that just did. So here's one, and I'll do one more for you. And there you go. The last thing to do is to loop some twine through the hole and hang it from your stocking. And that's all there is to it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more Cricut videos. Thanks for watching.